धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुत्सवः।
ओम सहनम भवतु सहनम भुनक्तु सह वीर्यैः करवावहै तेजस्विनाधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति ओम शांति ओम शांतिः। Let us sit down and study together. Through discussion, let us sharpen each other's intellect. May we not bear any ill will towards each other. Peace, peace, peace. Let peace prevail.
Although we are going ahead with the second episode, the anchor, verse, I think is still think of me and fight, the 8-7, where
Yes.
Krishna says, and I love that when he said, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu, it is kind of eternally true. Ma manusmara yudhyacha. But before that, I think we can recap the structure that is laid out in 8th chapter, because that is going to become more important about the Atma and the other anatomy kind of description that it has. So why don't you explain that again, and then we can move on from there.
Sure. First point is, in this universe, there is a transcendental, universal life energy that prevails, and that is Brahman. Because in the very first verse, Arjun asked, what is Brahman?
Yeah.
Then his next question is, what is self or soul? Now, we talked about the abstract, transcendental Brahman.
Yeah.
Now we are coming down to physical world,
Right.
and then how or what is the modes of expression of Brahman in this physical world. This is an important concept to grab. That Brahman, when it is expressed within us, that is the self, soul, or Atman. It is also called Adhatma.
Okay.
Okay. Then in the natural 5 elements, according to Hindus, okay, earth, wind, fire, water, and space, the modes of expression of Brahman there is Adhibhutam.
That's the physical body.
No, that's not the physical body. That's whatever is natural, built of natural element.
Yeah, but that is the body, right?
The body is a part of it.
Okay.
Okay. Then he talks about what is action or karma. Karma is the force which is cause and effect through which the birth, our entire life, and the death, it happens. Next one is, there is a supernatural world of deities, demigods, all these things, which is a part of this entire material world. That is called, modes of expression of Brahman there is called Adhidaivam. Okay.
Which is basically divine forces.
A divine force, yes.
Yeah.
And then we learned about how this world functions, and the functioning of the world was called yajna. Okay, as if whatever happening in this universe is just an offering to Brahman, and the modes of expression of Brahman, or the force which makes it happen, is Adhi Yajna.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to understand what is beyond this material world, that is Brahman, and that is the presiding force or energy. And in the material world, these are the expression of Brahman at different level.
Yeah. But for a layman person like me, I can go the reverse way. That my physical body, is like contains so many things. so many layers or so many content. And this is probably a miracle kind of machine that nature has built, or Brahman has built, or Brahma has built.
Yes,
Because we realize that, even the best built machines or robots, we are not able to emulate everything that a human body and the intellect and the the brain power, the emotions, I mean, all those that we see or we can experience, plus the things we don't experience normally, is what Krishna is trying Arjun to experience. So it is not just a lecture. I think Krishna tells him how to experience those things.
sure, he does that. She, and that's
So
where the verse 8 starts.
that's where the verse it starts, right? So
Yes,
in the beginning, it's so simple. He says, "Think of me and fight." But
yes,
that "think of me" is is the rest of the chapters, because "think of me" is not just happens. You have to
that's
work
right.
or work for it. When Krishna says "think of me," it's not like me saying "think of me, Amitabha," for me to think of you, Amitabh.
That's right.
I mean, we think about each other, but it's not a constant. It's like underlying current. So Krishna is saying that make me your undercurrent, and when he says me, it's not as individual, but as this meditative, the force that you said.
Yes, actually, what he mentions to Arjun is to realize what he told him about Brahman and Atman in the second chapter
Yeah,
from 16 to 30, when
yeah,
he said that there was never a time that you and I were not there. We were all same. When you have come and embodied as a human, you have forgotten, but I have not forgotten.
yeah.
So that is the image of Brahman that he is asking Arjun to remember. And then with that knowledge, get into the work which is, or the duty, fully focused and not looking at the result.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned second chapter, because first chapter was more like the story, storytelling of what's happening. Second chapter,
That's right.
there were answers. And
That's right.
Krishna, as I said in the beginning, that it's a guided meditation. Now Arjun is at a point where he can take him even deeper. And that deeper,
Yes,
the deeper you go, the more efficient your outer work is. And also your realization is deeper. And then
that's
you can
right.
have an undercurrent where, it's like I was thinking, Amitabh, it's like when we were, we are surgeons, so I bring that example all the time. When we were studying as medical student, then we kind of tried to remember all those strange words, that new vocabulary we developed, right? Then by the time we came senior years, those words became commonplace. It became like, I'll hit you with a femur or something, it's like we started using those vocabulary. And then we went into our surgical skills and training. But as our training got deeper, our kind of level got deeper as well, the undercurrent. And although outside it's the same me and same you, but somehow the experience started showing when you do the surgery or when you outcomes, and you don't see that portion. That
Actually,
portion is not
I mean, that's
visible.
a very good example you cited.
Yeah.
Basically, it is realization which becomes incorporated in our nature.
Yeah, in our being
Yes,
completely.
yes,
So that's what Krishna is saying, that once
exactly.
you realize, once you have this deep experience, and in 8:8 is like many teachers teach you, but Krishna put so much emphasis on practice. Abhyasa yoga yuktena. And he calls abhyas yoga almost. It's like doing repeatedly, doing it again and again and again, and then slowly and slowly everything gets deeper and deeper and gets, as you said, incorporated in your life.
Yes.
That
And
that becomes
and
part
that's
of you.
that's the word nitya yuktam yuktatma.
Yeah, I know you love that.
Yes, and that comes. It does not drop from the sky. It is from Sanay Shanay Abhyas Yogena
Yeah,
by practice.
yeah. To explain people who are listening, Shanai Shanai Abhyas. Shanai
By
Shanai is slowly and slowly, right? I mean,
slowly and slowly, you by practicing, you get into the union with this realization
yeah,
that our inner nature is divine, we are part of Brahman, okay? And this is how the material world it is, and how Brahman is expressed in all other
yeah,
aspects, and how we should function to maintain this world order.
yeah,
Yagam.
yeah. So Krishna uses the Abhyas Yoga, but I think when he says Abhyas Yoga, discipline is part of it.
Absolutely.
Because without discipline, you are practicing today, not practicing tomorrow, it's like it becomes the variability increases, right? I mean, so
Sure.
practice and discipline is what you need. And then he goes over to tell what to practice, and it's like there is a dhyan yoga, and he talks about that separately. But here it's a different dhyan he's talking. And First of all, you have to focus, sit down in a natural place and prepare yourself. And then prayana kale manasachalena. He says that you have to focus on the third eye, between the two eyes here, there's Bhrikuti. I mean, he gives the anatomic thing. And then Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti. He talks about Om basically. So it's with your discipline and uh, preparing yourself properly for meditation, then you focus on the third eye and you reverberate with the sound Om. And many people have different ways of saying, any mantra. You can speak it out and it creates a vibration around you. You can internalize those and just become part of it, or you can focus in one area and just imagine. I mean, in the beginning you may have to imagine, but that mantra or the Om, it kind of starts kind of percolating there. Somehow you have to focus in your third eye and combination of Om. And Om is the mantra of the third eye or the sixth chakra as well. So it all kind of puts together, and then you practice. This one doesn't say practice on Krishna.
That's right.
He doesn't say, this. So it's interesting that, as you say always, when he says, remember me and fight, or think of me and fight, that me is not Krishna the person, it's Krishna the Brahman, right?
That's right. That's right. What you said about, let me a little bit expound on that inner third eye.
Yeah,
Basically, third eye, though there is no physical existence of third eye,
yeah,
that third eye is basically our inner vision and realization.
yeah,
Now, Om represent that Brahman. Okay, so just when you control breath or you focus on third eye, basically it is practicing concentration. Okay, and when we utter Om, the the whole idea of Brahman comes in our mind. So we concentrate upon Brahman.
yeah.
Okay, and we established
Basically,
our.
that's where you are. Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
So one must understand that why this breath control, why this third eye, and why Om. So one
yeah,
should understand that. Basically, concentration, then remembering Brahman, trying to establish our relationship with Brahman, that is Yuktatma Nitya Yuktam.
yeah,
Okay. And that's basically is yoga, that is the union.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So he tells you the verse that you were just referring to, he also talks about at the time of death, okay, if we concentrate and we utter Om, okay, then we find salvation, okay, because at
Yeah.
that time the mind is focused towards Brahman, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The word salvation is a good word, but
I,
yeah, no, I
uh,
understand. But
well, I would say because Hindu is
I'm
the
staying more
liberation.
practical here, just, uh, but the deeper you go, more efficient your working is. That's important to know because
That's
that's
right.
what he says. Think of me and fight. Fight means for us, it may be do your
Well,
work.
yes.
But I think one other thing, he brings up next, which is in the verse 12 and 13, Sarva Dwarani Sanjamya. So this Sanjam word, for me, I mean, I don't remember so far Krishna using this Sanjam word so far. Sanjam is a very much um, kind of control, right?
Yes. I mean, he did mention that in second chapter. Remember when he gave the example of a turtle?
Yeah,
Uh,
so indirectly you can say,
Indirectly.
yeah. But the Sarva Dwarani Sanjamya, Mano Rid Niruddhaya Cha. So this is important part because discipline is important, practice is important, but this sanjam, many people have kind of an anti-logic for sanyam or control, that don't control yourself, let everything, express. And I mean, it's okay if you express anger on a pillow, but the if you don't have the sanjam, your mind is emotionally kind of, sanjam is mostly for emotions, right? Um,
That that is right, and also our practices.
yeah, our practices too. True.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay, our practices too.
Yeah. Uh, so that sanjam is, and man also, controlling the man, it's like your mind, which is
Yes.
always going in different directions. Then you are chanting this om at the, at that, so it's also important to control your man and control and, put it in your heart, kind of, So that's the
That's right.
important part that he brings here, sanjam as a sanjam word. I
Yes.
mean, there is a mention of brahmacharya as well. Brahmacharya is basically conserving your energy because,
Sexual continence.
yeah, well, yeah, energy conservation because that's one
Yep.
time, during ejaculation, you release a lot of energy. So when you are trying to conserve energy and preserve it, then it makes sense to use that. But uh, this whole sanjam, I mean, this whole atmosphere is now taking you deep inside you, and that's where he wants Arjun to get to. But he always keeps that 8-7 in mind, that it all started from 8-7, and how you can continue to remember him is what he's talking. But he's not taking away the fact that just because you are meditating doesn't mean you don't do the action. And when action means normal action, it's not like only spiritual actions.
Yeah. Actually, in chapter second, he mentioned when he talked about the features of a yogi. The yogi becomes
It's the Pragyasakya Bhasha.
that's right. So he becomes spiritually enlightened, but he didn't do not stay in that plane. He comes back in the society and does the work with
Yeah,
devotion, service, and knowledge.
right. Yeah, so Krishna is always focused on doing the work. And that's
Exactly.
why I think, karm, um, karm siddhant, karm yoga, whatever, his big focus on that. He
That's right.
mentions about karma sannyas which is, taking sannyas life. And there is nothing wrong with it. He doesn't say it's wrong, but
No, that's another path. That's
yeah,
all.
that's another path. Yeah. You're right.
Once you have that knowledge, realization, then that's another path.
Yeah.
But for majority of us who are in this world, living our lives and interacting with everything around us, that is
Yeah.
karma yoga. That's what Krishna is delving on.
Right. But so far he talks about, again, about life and living and meditation and doing all this work. But he doesn't ignore or forget that life ends. So then he goes on to the other place that, many of us may feel guilty if you do what Arjuna has to do, you kill people for winning the war or re-establishing goodness in the world. But he will be doing that. But does that lead to bad outcome for his next life? Or, at the time of death, is he going to face bad death? So Krishna is first decoupling when he's saying it's not related. The way what leads to, let's say, good death and bad death, it's like uh, there are two pathways he talks about later, after you die. But even at the time of death, this remembering, this meditation, this undercurrent is going to stay with you. I mean, that's hugely important, that it's going to help you while you are living, but it's also going to help you while you are dying or ready to leave this world.
Yes, he uses quite a few allegories to expound on this principle. Yes.
Yeah. Tell me about, the word allegory. What are you trying to, say there? This is the two
Basically,
paths that you are after death.
yes, he talks about the people who do worshipping and everything with desire, okay,
Yeah,
or to satisfy their needs and all that.
yeah,
Howsoever good work they do, if the desire part is behind, is their motive, so they go through a path where their good deeds are rewarded, but it is a reserve. When that is spent, they all come back to this world and go through the life and through life and life over and over again till they clear themselves of that desirous and egocentric approach.
yeah,
So, so he uses two allegories like this. The path is dark, it is all smoky, okay, nothing could be seen. And he also talks about that path uh, somewhat like the new moon phase, and then he talks about it just like the southern solstice of sun.
yeah.
Uh,
So northern path and southern path. I mean, that's
and then
Uttarayan
the other
Dakshin.
one,
Yeah,
when the yogi and the one who does this yogic meditation, they
yeah.
go to the northern solstice, the brighter path, okay, and they are not bound by rebirth, and they find the liberation that way.
And they get
So
to him. So basically, there is a little bit of bhakti here, or a lot of bhakti here, because you have to, some of those things you have to kind of believe in your heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Remember, in the chapter 7, we did talk about that different kind of people will come to worship him, but
yeah.
the one who goes to who reaches him is by virtue of sincere
Again,
work,
yeah,
knowledge, and
yeah,
devotion. So
yeah,
knowledge, devotion, and work goes all three together.
yeah,
It is not either or.
yeah. No, that's a good point. But he also talks about, the when he talks about death and and after death, he also talks about how, it's like long this Brahma's kind of one period is, or one day is. So it's all a question of relativity, right? I mean, we think our 100 years is a long time or a short time, and some Brahma's day is 4 point some billion years.
Can I expound on that a little bit?
Sure.
Okay. So, according to the Hindu thought, Brahma is the Brahman's representative in this material world as a creator.
Okay.
That's how they
Right.
join Vedanta with Puran that way.
Yeah.
Okay. So, according to Hindu philosophy, life is not linear, it is circular. It goes through creation and destruction. So
Yeah.
that's what, again, the allegory was used, that Brahma's day is much longer period, so are the nights. Okay.
Yeah.
And during the nights, everything disappears. And during the day of Brahma, that is the time of creation, everything reappears.
Sahayagya Prajasrastva.
That's
He
right.
brings
But
the creation.
yes, in the last part of that verse, he says, but beyond that, there is a creative force which never destroyed, and that is Brahman.
So
Okay.
Brahman is beyond the
Beyond all
creation
this,
and the destruction.
that's right. It is
Yeah.
beyond that.
That is transcendental. You can,
That's right.
yeah.
We talked about that.
Yeah. So he's not part of the destruction or, I mean, but
Creation
that's the force. So
is the
basically
force.
everything comes from nothing. I mean, that nothing or zero or is what the
Actually, now that
source
you
is.
mentioned about nothing,
Yeah.
uh, this chapter, Akshar Brahma Yoga, I was looking at Katha Upanishad too.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the verses of Katha Upanishad, I don't remember the verse right number, but it says that the eyes cannot see him, the ear cannot hear him. In even the with the manas or the mind, you cannot fathom how he is. Okay. It is only through realization it is expressed. That's a beautiful understanding. And we talked about that realization and knowledge in Gyan Vijnana Yoga. It is only by realization. And that's where he
I
wants.
mean, from it's like from this eighth chapter, one thing I'm kind of still trying to grasp how deep our structure is. It's not just liver and heart and brain. When you go to your mind and thinking and emotions, those things we can still experience easily. Then when you go and do the meditation, then you have these vibrations and you have all these experiences, beyond thought or thoughtlessness. And then slowly and slowly you realize that, this adhibhut or adhyatma. And so it's a layers, different layers, it's like somebody used about pedagogy.
Pedagogy.
Yeah, pedagogy. It's like a structured teaching that Krishna is doing to Arjun. It's like,
Can I say one more thing, Krishna?
yeah,
Actually, you know about Mahamrityunjay mantra by which you transcend death. Okay.
yeah.
So it says, Om Trambake Yajamahet Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam
Vardhan.
Urvarukomeva Bandhanam Maranne Moksham Mamritam.
Yeah,
So basically, it says one who who possessed the third eye, Trambake,
yeah,
okay, one who has the third eye, life is nourishing and fragrant to them.
right.
As time comes, the squash drops off the vine. This is a natural process. But in death, with that thought of the third eye vision, inner vision, Maranne Moksha Mamritam. So the liberation happens like nectar.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
that's a huge. I mean, I know it's used for different purpose, but the meaning
Meaning is
is so revealing. Yeah,
so that's basically is talking about. We
yeah,
see that in Kathopanishad there time and again. Okay.
yeah. No, I mean it's what I like about Krishna and especially the eighth chapter is that he weaves all this Arjun, think of me and fight. That seems like a very basic, concept, right? But then he takes it, how do you think of me? How do you practice? And then, how, what happens at the time of death, and then beyond death, and then this creation and destruction cycle of Brahma. And finally, uh, you know, how do you come to me? It's like, how do you come to me, as in not, he's already sitting with him on the chariot.
Actually, he's prescribing the inner vision to Arjun
Yeah, he's basically guiding Arjun completely
towards
into,
inner vision.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
this guide or this depth, he keeps going deeper because,
yes,
as we will see later, Krishna takes him, even further deeper than what we see in 8th chapter.
yes.
So it seems like this is the ultimate. What more can he say? But there is more. And I think we will explore that in 9th chapter. Of course, the last verse is again, it's like Vedeshu Yagyeshu Napas Chaiva Daneshu. It's like by knowing me, in depth, tattva se jankar, you come to me ultimately, because that's what, probably Arjun didn't expect so much teaching when he first, broke down in first chapter.
Yeah. Actually, the last verse says that the reading Vedas, the yagas, the fire sacrifice, the austerity, all these things. But beyond that is this yogic meditation where you become united with me and you function with that way.
Yeah.
And that is the way to reach that knowledge of Brahman.
I mean, basically, I will go back to where it all started. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha. That's where it, it's like that's probably, in my view, the key verse of this chapter around which everything has been built.
Actually, he at that point he is ready to give him giving him the inner vision,
Yeah.
and with that union he performs his duty. That's all.
But I like to think that, even in our work, as we get more training and more experience, it's like our level changes, so
Definitely,
yeah,
definitely,
and performance changes,
definitely.
मामकः पाण्डवश्चैव किमकुर्वत सञ्जय